have to make sure it says we
It
are
says we
live.
are live.
Yeah. Just wanna see if shows up here. Yep, it does. So, um, okay. Um, give me- yeah, I, mm, 1 second, real quick. Um, okay. Public. Okay. We should be live now. But now we are live.
Previously, we were half alive.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna open it in. All right. Let's wait for a few people to join, and then hopefully we should start seeing it. I start seeing the number changing. So okay. All right. I start seeing people coming in. All right. Welcome everybody to this new setup. This is our first live on this channel. Rajiv ji is still same. I'm still same. This is just the new channel. So thank you, Rajiv ji, for doing this. Really means a lot to our audience. Anything new before we get started onto the Q&A?
Nothing new unless you have been to one of the South African countries which have been put under the proclamation. So it's the same way as it was for the Indian travel ban. If you
Hmm.
have been in one of these countries in the past 14 days, you cannot enter the United States. So you would have a choice to go to a third country where there is no such issue, spend a couple of weeks there, and then come in. The exceptions are also the same as they were before. Green card holders are exempted, spouses of green card holders, naturalized citizens, etc., even siblings if they are under 21, the same exceptions as they were before. So, other than that, I can't think of anything new. Did we talk about the H4EAD, which I did not found to be very impressive? Did we talk
I
about
think we did maybe a little bit, maybe just
Okay. So
refresher.
yeah, let's just deal with questions if people have anything they want to talk about. Otherwise, I can tell you a story.
Yeah, I haven't seen any questions, so please feel free to ask your questions in the chat box so we can
One
answer
of the
any.
most asked question in the past few weeks has been this, and I think we also may have discussed this last time, but it keeps coming up. And the two things I want the student community to be aware of. First of all,
Hmm.
you cannot transfer lotteries. So if you win the H1B lottery, you cannot take it from employer X to employer Y. If employer X entered you into the lottery, they are the only ones who can process your H1B, right? So once the H1B has been processed, approved, then you can transfer it, but not
Hmm.
before that.
Right.
Number one. Number two, I have been approached by a couple of students who received these weird emails from purportedly from ICE, and they have spoofed the address also. But when you look into the headers of the email, you realize it's not coming from ice.gov. It's somebody is such a loser. They're trying to just scare the students for no reason at all. There is no financial motive. They are not asking
Right.
for money. They are
Right.
just saying you are likely to be deported,
Yeah.
that your papers have been there is a problem with your service papers, etc.
Hmm.
That's all nonsense, guys. You will not be receiving an email typically, although in the recent past USCIS has started doing some email contact, especially in cases where they're trying to save time. They did that for some of the green card cases. But it's always, if you are in doubt, always double check. You can contact your DSO and say, does this make sense? The DSO is supposed to be watching out for you guys.
Hmm.
So that's the second thing for students. Don't get taken in that easily. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think also one more to add to that is if they are asking for money, that should right away tell you that it is a scam, because
Well,
I
here they were
don't.
not asking for money, Yudi. That's what was
Hmm.
weird. It's just somebody with too much time on their hands who had
Oh.
nothing better to do with their lives, just trying to scare
Hmm.
students. Foreign students tend to be in particularly vulnerable situation. Not all of them, but many
Right.
of them. They've taken heavy loans. They have come to this country. They are studying, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to be put in a situation where your status could be in jeopardy. I had
Yeah.
a weird case reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Um, that lady had some really weird issues. So what happened was she was on F2. She started school. Then she applied for a change of status from F2 to F1. While that was pending, she left the United States, got her
Hmm.
visa stamping done, came back to the United States with an F1 visa. So she's in F1 status, right?
Right.
She continued to go to school. After a few months, she traveled outside again, came back again, no problem at all. Next thing is she gets a mail from her school saying, sorry, we have canceled your service because your change of status was denied.
Hmm.
F2 to F1. Okay. So she said, what do I do now? I said, well, first of all, this is nonsense.
Right.
By operation of law, if you have a change of status application pending and you depart from the United States, USCIS has no choice. They have to declare that particular application defunct. It's
Hmm.
considered to be abandoned. So that
Yeah.
an abandoned application's approval has zero meaning, legally speaking.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So because that application has no meaning, the fact that you have a student status by virtue of having obtained a visa and then having traveled on it a couple of times while the uh, F2 to F1 change of status was pending, that has zero impact on you. That's just plain law. There's nothing convoluted about it. It's very simple.
Right.
So she's trying to chase that down. She was pretty frightened. Her DSO said, well, what you can do is you can just go outside and come back and start your 1 year of student status again.
Hmm.
I said, what? Before you can get your OPT, etc. I said, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. You are
Yeah.
entitled to it now. And she said,
Hmm.
well, how do I do that? Well, that's what I said, chase it down and hopefully that'll get fixed. Students can get into some very weird situations. And
Yeah.
it's not because they are doing anything deliberately wrong. It's just that immigration law has such weird cross currents. If this happens, then all this changes, and this happens, and all this changes. Yeah, but if you move this piece a little bit, all of a sudden everything changes. So that's why in my office, UD, most of my colleagues, they don't even open their mouth to give legal advice to a client until they've worked with us 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 years for minor things, but 10 years to give complete and full
Like
employment.
the legal. Yeah. Yeah.
It because it takes that long just, and even then they will come back and say, you know what, Rajiv, this doesn't make any sense. What do you want to do with this?
Right.
Because you need the input of somebody who's been around a little bit longer. That was
Yeah.
that was another thing that was quite problematic.
Mm.
Um,
So
do
we
you
are we have few questions. I Do
okay?
you want to take them? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to tell
Okay.
you about green card while on student status, but that article is there. If you Google Rajiv S. Khanna or Khanna, uh, the Economic Times, you'll see my page come up, my author page come up.
Yeah.
I have an article there about applying for a green card directly from student status. Keep
Mm.
going, Yudi.
Okay. The question is my L1B petition will expire in November 2024. If my employer green card
Actually,
in
I can read it if you want. I mean, you don't have to read it to me. I can, if I remove my glasses and peer at it, I can actually read it.
yeah.
L1 petition will expire in November 2024. If the employer files green card in October 2024, will I get? No, no, you will not. Unless you were born in a country, um, Mr. Raza, unless you were born in a country other than India. If you were born in, let's say, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Middle East somewhere, or even if your spouse is from one of the countries other than the United States, you might have a shot. But if you were born in if you were born in India, China, any of the backed up countries, there's nothing you can do
Yeah,
to.
looks like he's not because it says non-Indian citizen. So
Yeah, that's excellent. So if he's a non-immigrant citizen, well, it's not citizenship, it's the country of birth that matters. You could be a
true.
citizen of Nepal but born in India, you've got a
Right.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next one is
Hey, Yudi,
okay.
I like this. I can actually read what people are
Yeah,
writing.
I know. I know. That's why I wanted to
You're
try.
such a you're such a lazy bum, dude. You just wanted me to do all the work.
No,
Actually, it's a lot quicker for me to read. I
yeah.
have two questions. If an Indian citizen, Canadian permanent resident, applies for H-1B visa and later they become a Canadian citizen, is the H-1B visa going to be void? No, 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 absolutely not. You could become a citizen of Canada, Australia, Zimbabwe. We don't really care. Your H-1B is attached to you, not to your country of citizenship. Next question. So, what are the options for a Canadian citizen, small business owner to move? Oh, absolutely. You have plenty of good options. If you are a Canadian citizen, I love you being able to get an E2 visa. An E2 visa is especially
Mm,
attractive because it doesn't require you to invest $1 million. You could invest a couple 100,000. The more you can invest, the better off you are. There are three elements to an E2 application. First is called substantiality. That
mm,
means you must have a substantial investment. Substantial as compared to um, the, well, actually, marginality and substantiality, marginality, and there is one more. But the idea is you are putting in enough money, and it is in comparison to the total, to the proportionality. That's the other test. In proportion to what you are getting, you are putting enough money. Let me give you an example. So, if you buy a gas station worth $300,000 and you only put in $10,000.
mm,
Okay. Or let's say, make it easy. 10%. You put in $30,000 down. Okay. That is not enough money.
mm,
Even substantially, it's very small, and proportionally, it's very small. Only 10% of what you're buying. But if you bought a property worth $10 million, then 10% might be enough.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
So enough money, and enough money in proportion to what you are getting. And marginality test simply means this, that you're not just buying a job. You are
Yeah.
going to make enough money over your subsistence so that you can claim it to be an investment rather than just purchasing a job. It sounds complicated, but if you got a few $100,000 to $300,000, you should look into that.
Mm. Okay.
Oh, one more thing. E2 visas are forever. You can
Mm,
keep renewing them every 3 years forever. And in the meantime, if you keep building your capital, you could even invest and get an EB5 done.
mm.
Okay.
Okay. Next one.
I got it. I'm on F1 visa. Shiva says I'm on F1 visa that expires this December. I applied for a change of status to H4. My husband is applying for I-485. Do you think I need a valid visa to apply for? No, 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 absolutely not. You need to be in valid status. Visa has nothing to do with status.
Hmm.
As long as you're maintaining your status. Now, I think you've emailed me or something too. I remember reading this question somewhere. Maybe you sent it to me on LinkedIn. I haven't gotten to it yet, but good you've asked me here. Now let me tell you how it works. And this is going to get a little complicated, so pay attention. First of all, visa and status are two totally different things. Okay.
Hmm.
So for example, let's say you have an F1 visa and that's expiring tomorrow, but you are in the middle of your school year and you've got 2 more years to go. As long as you keep going to school and your I-20 is valid, the fact that your visa expired has no problem at all. Only when you travel outside USA, you will need to get a visa and come back in. Okay. Visa is for travel, it's not for status. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, when you're in between statuses, your not visa, but F1 status has expired and your H4 is pending. You are not considered to be in full status. You cannot apply from that vacuum to 485 unless that vacuum has existed for less than 180 days. Okay. So there are two situations in which 485 should not be a problem.
Hmm.
One, if your F2 to F1 to H4, well, three actually. F1, if you're still maintaining status going to school, you can file 485 tomorrow, no problem. If school is over, but H4 is pending, if it is less than 180 days that the school was over, you still can apply for 485. You have a grace period. But if it's more than 180 days, I don't see how you can apply for a 485. I think that would be problematic. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Right. Next one is, can there be an
I
overlap?
got it, man. I got it. Can there be an overlap between my last day of current employer and new employer, both on H1B? I will miss the bonus in Feb without an overlap. So, Sriram, what you can do is you you cannot work simultaneously for two employers, but there can definitely be a situation where your H1 kicks in today, but today you're still working for the old employer. So you can't work for both employers at the same time, but the fact that the date of the next approval overlaps your current tenure is no problem. You could work 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, no problem at all.
Hmm. That
Talk to
is
your lawyer if
interesting.
if it's going to be more than a week or so. Talk to your lawyers, but it's absolutely no issue. Okay.
Hmm.
So you get your bonus and you can send Yudi a check for his share.
Yes, yes, please.
He has a lot of expenses.
I do. All right. Next one is, you
Green
can read
card
it too.
LCA prerequisite is to get a signed letter from previous employer. Yeah, you have also written to me. This sounds familiar. And I told you you cannot coerce an employer to give you a letter. So you can't make them give it to you. But if you get together with your lawyers and figure out what secondary evidence you can provide. So how do you do this? When an old employer refuses to give you a letter, first thing you do is you document that you tried getting a letter. You sent them emails, you call
Hmm.
them, just make an affidavit, what efforts you made and what they said. Now we know that the primary evidence, which is a letter from the employer, is not available. Second step, what you do is you get in touch with your supervisors, your past co-workers, get your paychecks out or your whatever the Indian equivalent to a W-2 is to show that you actually worked there, and you can get affidavits from co-workers and supervisors that cover this point. Okay, so
Hmm.
it can be done. It just has to be done diligently, and we have done this many, many times. Okay, next question. Okay,
Have
deferred
been,
my
yeah,
program. Then what?
and deferred my program to end. Will there be any issue at
To
immigration?
Supraja, if you are staying in the United States, you have to check with your DSO. I don't know the answer to that question. I have to look at the regs. I don't know the
Hmm.
answer to your question. Can you, after transferring, stay for medical reasons? I'm pretty sure there must be some medical reason exceptions, but I'm not aware of its limits. So please talk to your DSO.
Hmm. I think this is a repeated question, but if my uncle adopts me, then I
No,
can be American too.
no. Your adoption after the age of 14 is no good. So if you are under 14, maybe, but over 14, no.
Yeah. If I don't get H-1B visa after three lotteries.
Nobody can answer that question. How do I stay back in USA? Well, you could go to school. You could try to look for an investment. You could. There are other things you could do, but they are not very attractive.
Yeah.
So H1B is the only real option for most working stiffs like me.
Can.
Well, that's a very problematic issue. I think somebody also asked me this question. Actually, I asked these same questions over again in different format.
So it's a oh, tourist visa. Okay.
Yeah. So
So I
here's the
have B1,
problem.
B2. So can I go to F1 while being in US? Yeah.
Yeah, here's the problem. When you apply for a visa, B1, B2 visa, you tell the consulate, I'm just going to go for a short trip.
Hmm.
But if you have a preconceived intention to convert to an F1, that's fraud.
Hmm.
Okay. Then let's say you got the visa many years ago, so that problem is gone. But you flew to USA, you landed at the airport, and the Custom and Border Protections officer said, why are you coming to the United States? And you say, oh, I'm just going to go check out what Donald Trump is doing these days. Okay.
Hmm.
Just here for sightseeing. And I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. And the officer says, oh, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, go check on him. And they
Hmm.
let you in. But you had an intention to convert to a student status. They can find that objectionable and they can say that's fraud. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you try for a change of status, this issue could come up. Even if it does not, if you ever travel outside the United States before getting your green card, the consulate is going to give you a devil of a time granting you a visa because they always bring this issue up. I have
Hmm.
not known an exception where the consulate let it slide, even after 10 years. So, what I would recommend is if you can avoid it, that's a very good idea. Chances are, if somebody has a B1, B2, they come a couple of times, leave well within their time, they have a good case for a student status because they've proven they've never violated immigration law. Not a guarantee, but at least it's a good indicator. I personally never advise people to convert from B1, B2 to F1 or H1 or L1.
E- oh, right. Unless they go back and then get it stamped.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But
Yeah.
then what is the point? They're just carrying the I-20 home, right?
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, no, no. What I was trying to say is like if they have tourist visa and they came to visit, and then later on they went back to India and then decided like now I want to do masters because I visited United States, I like
Yes,
it.
yes,
Then that shouldn't
exactly,
be a problem. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Waiting for new question. I think we've answered almost all of it.
Wow,
So
that's wonderful. That's a good feeling, Yudi.
it is. All right. Here we go.
What other steps are there to get green card other than marrying a US lady or a guy? I mean, these days, most states, I mean, I think all 50 states recognize uh, gay marriages because I think it's a Supreme Court case. And so, yeah, other than getting married, if you get married just to get a green card, that's a felony. People go to prison. I have two people I know personally who went to prison because they paid somebody money to get married. That's a singularly bad idea.
Hmm.
One lady who went to prison was a South American software developer, and the other person was an architect from India. Both went to prison. And so don't do that, number one. Number two, unless you have a career, why would you want to stay in the United States? That's the way I look at it. But there's no easy way to stay in the United States. I would start looking for options like Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. You can always come back if there is a way back through an H1B, etc. But a short absence with other options might be something to look at. That would be my recommendation. People go for things like F1 with curricular practical training. If you go to my blog on immigration.com, you'll see an article that covers CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT.
Right. This is a good one. Says I got my marriage based green card for 10 years, even
Yeah, you should.
though
Yeah, you should have gotten a conditional green card.
that'll be.
1 month before my second, I got my marriage-based green card for 10 years, even though I entered the US. You know what, Vishnuji? I would be careful with that because I think you are right. So, what I would do is, if I were you, I would open a service ticket. I would tell the government, have you given this to me in mistake by mistake? Because they are not bound to their own mistakes, even if you get hurt. So it's not a big deal to get it corrected, but let's just make sure you try to get it corrected. Okay.
Hmm. Okay. And
Hey,
coming to
I'm
USA.
coming to USA on H1B. Hey, Radhika, on H1B visa, this Marchi, she types like I do, also have a small business and website already monetized and earning through Google AdSense. Can I still continue? Well, my employer and company don't have any issue. Radhika ji, we've talked about this several times. I'm not sure what the answer to that question is. If I were you, I would shift the business over to um, a family member in India and wash my hands off it. I think that's the safest thing to do until we hear something definitive from the government. What is the worst thing that can happen? Well, they can consider you to be out of status and they can deny you entry as a student. Of course, even as an H1B. As a green card, it's not a big deal. But in other areas, it could be a problem for you to come back in. We don't have any clear answers for you.
Hmm. Okay.
If I get
Forget.
my, haven't I seen this guy before? If
You
I get
did. Yeah.
140 approved under EB1A, can I change my job to a new one which may not directly be in the field of endeavor? Oh, no, 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 no. You see, EB1A has a lot of freedom, but it's not infinite. So let's say I am a colloidal chemistry expert. Okay. I know a lot about colloidal solutions and what we can do with them. I got my EB1A based upon that, right? Now, I all of a sudden I got a job in technology, and instead of being um, a chemist, I became a chief technology officer.
Hmm.
Your EB1A can be revoked because one of the underlying considerations in EB1A is that you will continue to work in your field. Of course, it doesn't have to be forever. Once you get your green card, you could think about changing careers if that's what you want.
Hmm.
But if you did it while the green card was still pending, I think it will be a ground for revocation of the EB1A. That's what I believe.
Hmm.
Any update on H1B visa wage based selection? Well, I know that the Biden administration is thinking about it, but the number of H1Bs has gone down so drastically because of the backups in the consulates. I know that they are having second thoughts. That's what I understand. I don't have any um, particular inside sources. It's all basically from publicly available information.
Hmm. Okay. And what happened? There was a third lottery, right? Or third something, and then they backed up. Like,
Yeah.
no, sorry, we don't want it. So, what was going on over there?
No, no, they didn't pack it up. They did the lottery.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they conducted the lottery and they selected some more people, and we are
Hmm.
filing their H1Bs.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Shilpi says, can I do freelancing? Same problem, Miss Singh. We don't really see money could be credited. It's the difference here is, and I'm going to take a crude example between robbing a bank and getting caught. So if I don't get caught, doesn't mean I didn't rob the bank. So therefore, to say that the money can be credited to parents, it still doesn't change the fact that you were the one working, right? So
Yeah.
I know that it's a great source of income. At least that's, or even a small source of income. Every little bit helps.
Right.
So, but I think it's dangerous for you for status.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yash says, will the people who pursued computer science have ever higher chance of getting H1B as number of lottery increasing? I don't know where you're getting that. Yash, I do not know any proposal to increase the number of H1Bs, um, but does it is usually easier to get H1Bs in computer science, usually,
Hmm. Hmm.
because there are some areas, for example, if you have a degree in operations management, operations analysis, or you have an MBA without a specialization, it's a lot more difficult. If, on the other hand, you have an MBA with a specialization in technology like an MIS, your chances are much better. So it's just that it's easier to define these cases, not because of anything inherently beautiful about computer science. I love it, but it doesn't mean that the government does. It's just a little easier for them to adjudicate these cases. So, yes,
Hmm.
it's a little easier.
Yeah. This is interesting. Any
What do you
chances
think
of?
chances of getting Buildback better passed in Senate? Not good. But I hope I'm wrong. There are some holdouts on the Democratic side also. So
Hmm.
it's a complicated issue. I think it's a long shot. I hope it passes. It'll be very good for all of us. But I think it's a long shot. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need 51-49. We don't even have 51 right now.
Oh, even. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because not all the Democrats are on board.
Hmm. Hmm. What's the benefit of build back?
There are a lot of immigration provisions there. Some
Hmm.
amelioration, not a complete elimination. Amelioration in backlogs, people getting their green card a lot quicker instead of waiting years upon years for priority date to become current. You pay some extra $5,000 or $2,500 and you get your green card approved, even though the date is not current.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. um.
Uh, okay, that's repeat customer, Ghulam Raza. Once
So.
I-45 is filed and petition is about to expire. Can we get EAD and continue working on L1B visa? Once 485 is filed. Well, Mr. Raza, you will get your employment authorization, right? So yeah, once you get your employment authorization, then there is no problem. But you can't work on L1B. Oh, if you just received the EAD and you haven't used it, you can work on L1B. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'm a little confused about your question. So let me parse it as best as I can. So once you file your 485, eventually you'll get your EAD. Just because you got your EAD doesn't mean you have to stop your L1B. You can continue on L1B, or you can jump on to EAD, forget about the L1B, and do whatever job you want with the same employer, I mean, the continuing job for the green card. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was about to say star five if you have a question, because that's how we do our conversation.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Star five
Yeah.
if you have a question, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully, the next session I'll be able to fix this thing right here. So
Oh, I
that's
like it. It's no. This is pretty good. I can read. I read a lot faster than you talk, Yudi.
yeah, but then it's just weird. Like if you're reading it in your mind, then if the people are rewatching it and they don't see the question, then
Oh, they
it's like
won't?
this.
I thought
I
this
think
would be a
they
part.
probably they can see
Well,
the
we can test
question.
this out. We
Yeah.
can refine it. Yudi, I think you're just afraid of being made redundant. That's what the problem is. You're like, where am I in this conversation?
That is also very, very true.
You heard what my colleague June said, right?
What? What
One
did
of
she
our
say?
lawyers, I forwarded you the email. One of our
Oh yeah,
lawyers
yeah, yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
Yudi is so charming and the information is so good. She says,
That's all I do. I'm here just
he's
to spread
very
the
married.
charm.
I want you to know.
All right. Next one is here we go.
That's a new customer. I'm here in the US on F1, used to work for my mom's for assistant without payroll. Can I still mention that on my resume? Your resume, as long as you don't lie on your resume. Because look, let's separate these items. First of all, if you did it, you can put it on your resume, no question about it. Whether you get paid or not is nobody's business. Number one. Number two, let's say you lie. Okay. And resumes are like that. I know people lie, people exaggerate.
Hmm.
Like, I'll give you an example. Bunch of guys were sitting together. This is in GW when I was in law school. And I was hanging out with the computer science geeks. And one of the guys says to the other, well, man, I'm still doing the sockets programming thing. I still remember the conversation. And the next thing is, on his resume, this other guy who was listening had sockets programming as one of the skills. He doesn't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so some of the exaggeration in the resume is expected, and that's okay. But whenever you submit a resume to the government, it should be precise. It should be true.
Hmm.
But if you submit it into a private party, that's between you and your conscience. Okay. So the short answer is yes, you can list it.
Yeah. All right. My aunt is a
Go
US.
ahead, read it, Yudi. I know you want to.
uh, yeah, my aunt is a US citizen. How long will it take if she files green card for my father?
About 13, 14 years.
Hmm. Even if I so can I file for my uncle, cousins, and all of that
No,
if I want to?
no. You can file for your brother and sister, even if they are married.
Oh, brother, sister, right? Okay, siblings. So it has to
So he says
be.
aunt. I'm assuming it's a real brother sister relationship, not cousins.
Yeah. That's right.
If we
Okay.
are talking about aunt like we used to, Paros wali auntie is auntie, no, then that doesn't work.
Right. No, I think he's probably talking
I
about the
think so.
real brother. Okay. Um, it's
If and when the better build back whatever is passed, will we be able to get green card by paying 5,000 after 2 years? Yes, that was part of the provisions. I don't remember exactly what the provisions are, but yeah, that was part of the provision. Yeah, that's what it was,
oh.
Vamshi. So the idea was, once you've been waiting a couple of years, you can then pay the extra fee, get your 485 cleared. So you don't
Hmm.
have to wait for the priority date to become current. There were two provisions. One was 5,000, the other one was 2,500. I don't remember exactly what the difference was. It's been a while since I looked at it because until it has a real chance of passing or it passes, there's no point in me paying too much attention to it. So, next question, please. Press 5 star, star 5. Will the F1 student visa have problems for fall 22 incoming students as the Omicron? Well, Omicron virus, unless it becomes rampant in India, India is not banned, so no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's has nothing to do with immigration.
Isn't it Omicron? Yeah, Omicron. Yeah, I heard Omicron for some reason. Okay,
Omicron.
that's a weird name.
They have to give some name.
Omi means for ever. I mean, everywhere.
No, but that's
Cron.
Omni.
Oh, Omni. Omni is the same thing, right? Omni means everywhere.
Omni means everywhere, but the what he spelled it was OMI, like
Okay.
Omi.
Is it
I,
Omni
I,
or Omni?
I don't
As
know.
long as we don't get it, we are okay. I don't care what you call. You can call it ramen for all I care.
Yes, that's somebody actually suggested if I should host this on the main channel because that way Vamsi Krishna is suggesting that since this is a new channel, he's saying there's only 35 people. Right now it's 35. So if I host it on my main channel and then later on I can delete it. But that's a good point.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Just tell me where to come. I'll come.
You don't see anything. You just see the meeting which you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
But behind the scene, they see it on YouTube. We are on a different platform and
Oh,
I'm using this other platform to stream it on the YouTube. So there's a lot of
Yudi,
going on.
I have no choice but to trust you.
Yeah. All right. Sairam is asking, can I switch my employer after I get I-140 approval?
Well, Sai Saab, if you change your employers after I-140, there are two circumstances. One is, well, there are three circumstances. Let's begin with the first. Are they going to revoke your I-140? Are they not going to revoke your I-140? That's the first question. Second question is, Are you going to stay with them 180 days after approval? Then it doesn't matter. You carry all the benefits over to a new employer. And what are the benefits? You get your priority date the moment the I-140 is approved, and you
Hmm.
can take it to the next employer. You have to start the green card all over again. But that takes a year and a half, and you're back at the same step where you were with the old employer. So one of the main things would be, did you stay the 180 days? Although the priority date gets attached to you the moment it's approved, even if they revoke it the following day or even the same day, you keep your priority date. There is a second element which kicks in on 180 days. That is this: your right to extend your H1B through any employer. So if you stay with this employer for 180 days after the approval of the I-140, then even if they revoke when you leave, you can still keep extending your H1B with any employer based upon the old I-140 approval that was revoked. I hope that
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. How difficult is it of getting H1B for Indian citizen who's completed masters from Canada in computer science and now working as a data scientist?
The problem is with the data scientist. See, the problem is not your degree. My master's degree was first master's degree was from Canada. So the problem is not with your degree. Canadian degrees are usually accepted as equivalent. The problem is the field of data science. Government is so far behind, they've not been able to classify data science as a specialty occupation. So they often create problems for us when we have a data science occupation. So we have to look at it very carefully. There are data science occupations which I have classified as mathematicians.
Hmm.
There are data science occupations which I have classified as developer. Why? Because let's say you are streaming data, then you have to create certain software that does it. Even if it is utility software, I think I can validly claim that's a software developer's job. So data science as data analytics is a very difficult field to get approved. But data science as a subset of mathematics, statistics, or computer science is much easier. I hope that helps.
Hmm. Okay. Saurav is asking F1
Ouch.
then.
214B, no, 214B is okay. Once F1, I thought it was 212. Once F1 denial under 214B later makes significant changes in DS, does it increase the chances? You know what, Saurav Sab, it's difficult to predict what happens with 214B denials. Because I know one student just a couple of months ago, he
Hmm.
had three 214B denials, but the fourth time they gave it to him. Why? I do not know. And he actually emailed me to say that, I got it. It was really weird. I said, just get on the plane as quickly as you can before they change
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So what's and why
No, okay,
212B
214B.
is
Okay, 214B simply means we think you're going to become an immigrant in the United States.
right? And what's the 212B?
212A, that's the fraud ground. That's the
Hmm.
permanent bar.
Mm, okay. All right. Next one is can you tell me if I have done my MBA but not been working for 6 months, will have any problem in doing K1 visa? What is K1? Oh,
So
finance visa.
K1, yeah, K1 is fiance. You know what? I don't know, Sanu. I do not remember whether K1 requires you to have maintained status in the United States. But if you have no unlawful presence issues, which usually students with a DS don't, duration of status I-94, you could always go outside USA, get a K1 and come back. You may not be able to change status within the US. I don't know the exact details. I haven't looked into it. But consider two options. One, converting to K1 within USA. Does being out of status work against that? I think it might. Second is getting a visa stamp from outside USA. Then that 6 months is no problem.
Hmm. Okay. But isn't K1 only for 1 year?
Well, K1, the way it works is you go get K1, you have a certain number of months to enter the United States. But the moment you enter, you have 90 days to get married.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Can you please ask about the options for naturalized Canadian citizen? I'm curious about T and
Yes,
visa,
TNs are great.
H-1B, green card, getting job via TC consultant. Not sure what the question really is over here.
So as a Canadian citizen, you have two options that open up to you. One is investment and E2 visa, good visa. It's called treaty investor visa. And the other one is TN visa, good and bad. It is good, it's very quick. You appear at the port, they either give it to you or they send you back. And it is given for 3 years, extendable indefinitely. You can keep extending it as long as you want. The problem with TN is it's not a dual intent visa. So before you can start a green card, you have to time it right. Either convert to H1B or time it so when you don't need a TN extension, then file the green card. And if you're born in a country other than India, that's the only way it can work. Otherwise, TN and green cards don't live together well.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, next one is hi again, repeat customer.
I like repeat customers.
Do you know how long does it take to get EAD after applying I-485?
Would you take long time as a good enough answer? Long time, about 8, 9 months. Let's see if it gets any better with time. But right now, I think it's about 8, 9 months.
And that's employer-based green card.
Doesn't matter. All 45s are taking that much time.
Okay,
All
because yeah,
EADs.
that's what I mean. It took
Yeah.
long time for mine,
Yeah.
which is marriage-based as well. So,
Well, Yudi, in your case, they also have your picture, and
and COVID. That was the when COVID actually
and the
started.
FBI is looking for you.
Yeah, they are. They are. They know that I have contacts with you, so I must be
Did
doing
you?
this.
Did I ever tell you the story how I got investigated when I entered the court system? So I got a job as a law clerk with a judge,
Hmm.
and the courtroom security came and got me, and they said, "Well, you have a problem in your background." It turns out uh, somebody named Rajiv Khanna in this area had been stealing cars. He had a long history. And I said, "Wait, listen, this guy is 10 years younger than me. It's a different social security number. And I'm better looking anyway. So how come?" But yeah, Yudi,
Uh,
watch out for that FBI, man.
yeah, sounds good. Repeat customers again back. What about other E2 investor visa? More info.
I don't know what you mean by
And then there's
other E2
another.
investor visa, Chauhan sahab. There is only one E2, and it is given to people who are citizens of certain countries with whom the United States has this agreement to give these kind of visas. We don't have it with India. We have it with Pakistan. So Pakistan citizens of Pakistan can come to USA on E2 visa. Many of them do. Many of
Hmm,
our clients who are citizens of Pakistan have come here on E2 visa. So E2 visa is tied to the citizenship of the country, not the country of birth, citizenship.
hmm, hmm,
So if you become a citizen, the people are doing this. What people do is they go and get a citizenship of a third country, like let's say Grenada. Okay,
hmm,
that costs them a couple $100,000. Grenada has E2, so then they take an E2 and come to USA.
hmm.
This is a perfectly
Interesting.
acceptable legal route. Nothing wrong with
Hmm.
it.
I guess on the follow-up question, can E2 visa for
No,
Canadian citizen lead to
no.
green card?
So this is. I'll give you an example of a
So how
citizen of
long is the
Pakistan,
E2 visa?
unlimited.
Okay.
No,
So is
no
there
termination date.
limitations on E2? Like you cannot do
No,
something or?
you can. So here's how it works. So why E2 is great? Because I'm a big fan of E2 visas. Um, First of all, the investment is not huge. Okay, it is substantial, but it's not huge. Second, it's indefinite. You can keep extending it forever. Third, your wife also gets a work authorization. Wife or husband. Okay, so your spouse gets work authorization. Third, I don't remember if the children do. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember that. But wife definitely does. Spouse does. Okay. And the third thing is this is what we did for one of our clients. He started with his investment, moderate investment, but then he moved his business from a big area to a much smaller urban suburban area rural area, with the idea that we would ultimately build the capital and raise it to the amount which was 500,000 at that time for rural areas and get our green card. And that's what we did. So he got his green card. So he invested, let's say 300,000, and then he
Hmm.
invested, made some money, paid taxes, invested back some money into it, raised it to 506. Actually, he raised it to 800,000. We were able to get his green card for him and all his children. Okay. So that's
So
why I
the
like Hindus.
okay, so the big difference is you have to keep continuing in terms of green card versus this. You can you naturalize that E2?
Yeah.
No.
Once you get your green card, then you can naturalize like anybody else.
Okay. Hmm. All right. Next one is
Not difficult. Is it hard to get an H1B for as a software developer with a Canadian degree? As long as the degree is equivalent, I don't see why it should be difficult.
yeah. Okay. Next
Ah,
one
Yuri,
is
Yuri.
Hi, Yudi and Mr. Khanna. I am coming for MBA program in finance. What are my chances of getting H1B after F1? As you are saying that it's
Good,
an issue when coming
good.
to.
No, no, no. Finance is good because see, it depends upon the kind of job you get. If you get a job as a financial analyst, for example, I don't think we should have any problem getting the H1B through. Well, remember this: having an experienced lawyer, not just us, there are hundreds of thousands of us. Well, not hundreds, but thousands of us. Um, Having an experienced lawyer helps because we can see the contours. We can see what the akar prakar of your case is. Okay, so when we look at the category and the contours of your case, we can tell this is where we're going to have a problem, and try to go around all those kinky parts and be able to get you through. We had a very interesting case just a couple of months ago. Somebody had their H1B denied because they were working as an operations research analyst in the pharmacy industry. And it looked to me like it was definitely a professional case, a specialty occupation case. But operations research analysts are not defined per se as specialty occupation.
Hmm.
Okay, because you can have a degree in 10,000 fields and still be an operations research analyst. They want a specific degree or set of degrees. So we refiled the H1B, and after much fighting with the government, we got an approval. And the reason we got an approval, we were able to show that, look, first of all, it's a pharmaceutical industry, people's lives. Okay, you can't just mess around and get your processes messed up. And we actually showed the work he did for the company.
Hmm.
And that work was not something you could do without a degree in pharmacy. So that's how we
Hmm.
won that case.
So in short, if coming for
Now, in short,
finances,
anything is possible. Finance is a good degree. I like it.
yeah, we like finance.
Yeah. I think it's very boring, but if you like it, what the hell?
Yeah. All right. I think we'll take this last one and then call it. It was a good session, though. Can we apply for H1B through multiple companies while working on STEM OPT visa?
First of all, they don't pay anything for it. If you pay for it, you are in trouble. Number two, if the companies are not related, not even remotely related, they don't even know each other, you are
Hmm.
okay to apply through multiple companies. Okay.
Okay.
But take the assistance of your lawyers, analyze the situation very carefully. But multiple lotteries through different companies is allowed under the law.
Yeah. Yeah. But what happens if both of them get picked up? Like, can
Well, you
you
can
choose?
you can process both H1Bs and take the one you like,
Oh,
or
okay.
take one, whichever one you like.
Hmm.
But no, you can't sell one. No, that's not possible.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
I know how your brain works.
Ah.
Stop it,
All
Yuri.
right.
No selling.
All right. I'll do this one last.
Data scientist for an insurance domain company. MBA finance is a good option. Working as a data, you see, Mayankji, it's very difficult to. It's like a doctor trying to diagnose a patient without looking at the patient. I would have to look at the job description to say, you know what? Because see, insurance companies employ mathematicians, they employ statisticians, they employ who are those people? Actuaries. They employ software developers. So there's so many data scientists, data analysts. There's so many different things. I have to actually look at what your job description is, and your lawyer should be doing that. That would be a part of their expertise. That's what they get paid for, to prejudge and decide whether the case has a chance of making it through the H1B process.
Hmm. Yeah. I think he's asked, Yash has asked this multiple times, so I'll ask, let him answer.
Oh, Yash is Superman. How can I say no to him? Is he Superman? No, he's Yash. Can
Yash,
one?
man.
Yeah, he has that Superman logo with Y in it.
Yeah.
Can one in H1B only last for 6 years after extension? It can be extended. Yeah, see, H1Bs are extended routinely. Once you get the green card process started, you can keep extending the H1B almost indefinitely.
Once and only if you are right, like not like you after 3 plus 3
No,
extension.
no, indefinitely. I know people who've been on H1 16 years, 17 years.
But like, is that person green card is in process or?
Yes. You have to put the
So
green card in process,
yeah,
otherwise
that's
you can't get
right.
extension.
Only if your green card is in process, you can extend it.
Yep.
Okay, but if it's not, then you cannot extend it.
No, no, of course not.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I guess we'll do this last one question. It's
Yeah, so that's illegal. You can go to prison if you do that.
there you
If
go.
you have
Well,
agents like that, report
and
them
with
to us.
that,
They are criminals.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Rajiv ji. And just a reminder for people who are still here, we will be doing it on this same channel, and we might try broadcasting it on our main channel next session.
You
But
decide, Yudi. I have no idea what you're doing. I'm in the back seat. You're the boss.
yeah, and actually, this is easy because I don't even have to be here. I can just ask Caitlin to run this then, because she
I'm
can just
okay with
click
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But you know what, Yudi? I think June would definitely miss you. She sees me all the time. She doesn't.
Uh,
Don't worry about that.
June, if you're watching this, hello.
Hi, June.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Okay, Abhinav is saying, please take my last question. What is
Okay.
this
Yeah, yeah.
last?
Let's take a last question. Why not?
Uh, why employer file for green card for us? What if we
Well,
change employer?
employer has no incentive to file for your green card. You will. You are the one saying, please, please, please file my green card.
I don't know what you mean by that, but
Yeah,
okay, cool. Somebody said you guys are amazing. Love the
that's true.
podcast, and yeah, that's, a lot of people say they like our chemistry, so I'm like,
We have a lot of chemistry and physiology.
All right, thank you, Rajiv ji. We'll talk
All right,
soon.
brother. See you
Yeah,
later. Bye,
bye.
guys.